Freddie, trying stuff.
Coming on nicely. Perfect. Just perfect. Hey guys, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me again on the second episode. Now follow me. Let's see what Freddy is up to. This way.
I know what you're thinking. What's going on here? Well, I'll tell you. So apparently, there is zoning laws, and part of the zoning laws is you could, for any item or container you put in your yard, it has to at least give the same distance from the fence and the back fence. So, needless to say, I was too close to my neighbors and I had to pull the container back. So after that was done, I decided to examine the inside and plot on how to use insulation to do the outside installation. So what I did was I got some wooden boards, like some wooden 2x4s, I guess, 2x6 really. And then I bought a bunch of 2x6. Then I had to drive to somewhere in Amish town, which I didn't know existed in the Maryland, but I found one. And I found a gentleman on Facebook Marketplace that was selling insulation board 2 inches thick for a good price. I won't give out the price, but it was a good price. A lot better than what the stores were selling them. It was an hour away. It was worth the drive. So I figured the money I'm saving doing so was worth that drive. So I drove there. Now prior, because I didn't fully plan this, I had to make multiple trips because I didn't have like a truck big enough to do so. But you live and you learn, right? What are you gonna do about that? So this is my little trip to Amish Town to get the stuff. And by the way, I will say this: Amish Town was nice. It wasn't like all Amish, it was some regular people. I know that sounds weird. I don't mean like regular people, like they're not regular, but I mean like, it wasn't just a full Amish town. You had some civilians and regular Maryland folks there. But I had a great experience with the Amish. I always do. I call them the Chick-fil-A of white people. But that's because I'm bad at jokes. Anyway, so this was a trip, and after I got what I needed, here's what happened. I decided to have some kind of structure in how I'm going to set up this whole shipping container. So like have little phases of what to do first, what to do second, what to do third, what to do fourth, what to do fifth. So that way, if any obstacle come, I could at least stay on course. Okay, so I thought it out. It's out. The game plan was to get the insulation, get the 2x6, cut them and have them fit inside the grooves so I could put the insulation board on the exterior side. I figured someone like me would like to maximize the space on the inside, so I decided to put insulation on the outside, and I saw somebody do it on YouTube. It made sense, so I did it. And also, in addition to putting insulation on the outside, also it will help frame the container, because one of our neighbors complained that the container is ugly and blue. I personally didn't have anything. I personally loved it the way it was, but just to avoid unnecessary problems, I tried my best to make sure I could remedy that. And the way I did that was to get sidings and put it on top of the installation. It's important to mention this: don't use a nail. Use a screwdriver, because the problem with nail is it makes a lot of noise, and on top of that, banging on the container with that noise, the nail does not really hold well with the wood. So I suggest screw it in. Don't use a nail like I just did, because I had to redo this and use a screw. So screw it in. Okay, this part is probably unnecessary information, but the reason why she's up there is because when you put those 2x6s on the sidings, I cannot see where the lining is once I put like insulation on there. So I need her to kind of look at it vertically from the top to help me point out exactly where I need to screw in. And this is the hilarious way I get her down. Whenever there's a will, there's a way. So after that was done, I put tape around where the sliding door was gonna go. Initially, I called some guys who told me they knew what they were doing and they would do it, but they didn't come. They never came to do it, so I took matters in my own hands. I watched a few more YouTube videos. From there, I decided to put tape, because I figured if I put tape, I could, once I measure how wide the sliding door is, I could at least put tape around there, and then I could cut down the metal myself. That was to me one of the scariest part, because it was sparks everywhere. But we'll talk about that in the next video. In the meanwhile, that's what that tape framing was for, to point out exactly where the sliding door would go. But in the meanwhile, this is what I've been doing.
Hard and effort, because the nail is kind of dull. So we're gonna move into using screws. So I'm gonna go Home Depot, get 4-inch screws, which we measure based on the impact of the wood that we put under. The 4-wood screws will do a better job holding. And also I'm gonna try to get a water resistant screw, because it's gonna be outside. That way, even if it gets rained on, it wouldn't affect the structure. So yeah, that's the game plan. We're learning a lot. Every time we do this, it's a new experience. See you next time.